Starting take two in 3, 2, 1, go! Hey there, folks. Welcome to Take Two, right here on the Voices on the Net Network. I'm JJ, and that is, wait, what's your name? What's your name again?
Ronnie.
Oh, that's it, Ronnie.
Yeah.
I forgot. Brain freeze. Sorry. Yeah, that's Ronnie. No. I'm JJ, that's Ronnie. Welcome to Take Two, yet another episode of the program. Hope you all are glad that Ronnie and I are here as much as we are glad to be here. We have a great show planned for you all. This is, of course, the show where, well, Ronnie will feature her great movie report. We're going to get Ronnie to make this official in just a moment. She'll announce the episode number as she does at the beginning of every episode. But first, if all of you would be so kind, as the great listeners to the Voices on the Net Network, if you would please visit www.vonthenet.com, the Voices on the Net Network's website, where you'll be able to find more information pertaining to the Voices on the Net Network. Yeah, all you need to do is go right up to the About link. You click that About link at the top of the website, where you will arrive at a web page providing you everything you need to know pertaining to the network in thorough detail. Now, you can also check out, and probably the greatest features on the website, the podcasts. Yeah, the podcasts of any of the episodes from any of the shows, all available on demand for your very own convenience. Yep, you can check all of these great features out by going to www.vonthenet.com. So, Ronnie, how are you?
I am great. Glad to be back.
Man, you sound loud. Wow, loud.
Loud.
Yeah, so great to be here, as always. And we have a great show planned for everybody. What are you going to do, though, right now before we start the show, though? You know you have something to do. There's something over there you need to do.
It?
You know, that would be great if you could do that. Yeah, that would be awesome.
Okay, I'm going to try that.
Thank you.
Let's try that. Okay, we are at episode 262.
Huh?
262.
Episode number 262. So I was just saying how Ronnie was too loud, and I'm like, I can't even hear her now. I'm just kidding. 262, episode number 262 of the program. Thank you, Ronnie, for making it official. We can now start the show. And like I said a couple of times before, obviously we have a great show planned. But then again, when don't we? Not to toot our own horn, seriously, right? But yeah, so how are things over there? How you doing?
I'm doing great. Everything's going well. Everything's coming together. Getting ready for graduation, school.
Yeah. Anything different, though? Everything different? Anything different? We go over the same things every show.
I know.
I ask you what's up, and you tell me the
life.
same thing. You got to make up some things for the listeners or something. You got to, make up something. I don't know. Make up something random to intrigue the audience with.
Well, I went tornado chasing. That's not nothing new, but it is.
Well, that isn't anything new. We hear
different.
about your tornado chases
I know.
each and every show. It's seriously.
See, I'm telling you, I have a boring life, but things will be picking up really quick.
Guess we have to get rid of you, Ronnie.
I know.
I guess we have to get rid of Ronnie and get somebody else in her seat that's more interesting, I guess. Yeah, well, I don't think the listeners would like that too much. I think they'd actually boycott the network if you left, honestly. But yeah, I'm not getting rid of you anytime soon. You don't have anything to worry about. But yeah, tornado chasing. Yeah, you said that when you went to your movie, you saw more than one film, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. You were watching a movie, but you also saw some tornadoes, or were they just thunderstorms?
There were tornadoes in the area when we went to go chase them. Now we're talking, don't yell at me, at night with the camera. So we're driving into the storm to go find them.
Right.
We didn't actually find them. I think they were coming towards us. We found, all you could see was like the rotation, the clouds that are on the ground. You know, you have the clouds that go from the top all the way down to the bottom base that are actually on the ground. And the tornadoes are hidden within them, so you really can't see them.
Okay.
But you can feel the baseball-sized hail coming out of them.
See, that's the thing. If you were to get bonked on the head by one of those one of those baseball-sized hails, you could get knocked out. You could get knocked out. So not only a tornado can suck you up into the sky, you also could get hit in the head with hail, baseball-sized hail, nonetheless. So it's like you're asking to be buried 6 feet under. Seriously.
No, you're in a vehicle. You're safe, but it's awful loud in a vehicle, especially if the roof is getting bombarded. But no, not with the hail, really. I mean, you're not outside the vehicle when it happens.
We need you, Ronnie. We don't want you to hurt yourself, okay? Seriously. No hurting yourself. No hurting thyself.
But I have awesome video, though, of lightning strikes.
So you're going to give it to me so we can place it on the website?
Sure.
All right. Well, we'll have to work that out or something. Yeah, so apparently somebody on Facebook had their account banned, disabled. You're probably asking why, or maybe you don't care. Like, okay, everybody, there's plenty of people on Facebook that get their accounts disabled. What did the guy do now? Did he post something that he wasn't supposed to post, inappropriate material? No, he didn't actually. This guy actually shares the name of the CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, and they banned his account because they thought he was trying to be Mark Zuckerberg. He happens to have the same name, though, as Mark. He does. Mark Zuckerberg, an Indianapolis attorney. And what interests me, Ronnie, is he had to go through hell to when he started Facebook, an account. He had to go through hell. He had to send a driver's license. He had to send ID to Facebook. It took about 4 months before he even was on Facebook. So what happened to all of that? They banned his account after all he went through to try and get his account open. Yeah, they disabled his account. It's now active as we speak. They reactivated it finally. But this poor guy's went through hell to keep his Facebook page open. He shares the name. I guess it doesn't help that he shares the name of Mark Zuckerberg, or maybe it does help having the same name as Mark Zuckerberg. Probably have quite a bit of exposure on your side with that name.
Oh yeah, you Google that. You're getting him as an attorney way on down the line, somewhere in Google.
No,
think of all the likes that he's getting now.
Ronnie, I'd have to say I disagree with you. You Google his name, more than likely you're going to come up with Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg,
True,
not the lawyer.
But I mean, eventually you're going to get to him. But now that he's attached to Facebook,
about 2,500 pages down the line, you'll get to him. If you get past the first 5 pages, you're lucky. So
yeah.
I don't think you're going to see his name on there unless you type in Indianapolis attorney Mark Zuckerberg.
Well, now that the story's hit up, it could be further up the list.
Well, yeah, now that he is in the news, people are obviously going to be able to find him more. But then again, he's been receiving requests from people thinking he's the actual Mark Zuckerberg. So I think really his main focus, and he brought this up, is that he gets to talk to his family and friends. He says he doesn't even enjoy Facebook that much. He just likes to, he knows that his family and friends, if you know there's a medium where your friends and your family are on, you're going to go there, regardless of whether you like the service or not. It's a place where everybody flocks to. It's the centralized location. So you could hate the centralized location as much as you want, but you're still going to go because everybody's there. Right?
Right. I knew someone who was a customer at a convenience store whose name just happened to be, I did even to make sure, and his name was George Bush. You want to know, he got harassed so bad.
I can imagine.
Even signing a check, they thought that he was lying, impersonating the president of the United States, and when in fact that was his real name.
Yeah, when you think about it, sharing the name of a celebrity, it may have its downsides, because if that celebrity happens to be negatively portrayed in the news, it could actually affect your reputation. But there has to be some upsides to having the same name as a star, a celebrity. You could use that star's star power to your advantage somehow. And I only think that if I were to have the name Brad Pitt or Leonardo DiCaprio, or which would be difficult, or an easy one, something that would be simple. Maybe Johnny Depp. Depp may not sound like it's that common of a last name, but 4-letter name, I don't see why it wouldn't. I'm sure there are plenty of Depps as last names. You have John Depp, Johnny Depp. How could you use the fame of Johnny Depp to further your career or further your reputation? How many people may think if you're on Facebook, you're the real Johnny Depp? You know what I mean? Similar to this guy, Mark Zuckerberg. Everybody thought he was the real Mark Zuckerberg. They would send him emails saying how much they loved Facebook. They were thanking him for connecting their long-lost relatives with them. And he also received emails from people asking for loans to visit these long-lost relatives. Seeing that the real Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook founder, Mark Zuckerberg. See, I said the real Mark Zuckerberg. You think of Mark Zuckerberg, you think of the Facebook founder, not this guy. But the Facebook founder is rich, so clearly this guy has some clear competition in that field. But yeah, he has the same name, but he did go through hell trying to get on Facebook and also trying to keep his Facebook up.
Could you imagine? It would be easy for him now. He just call up a restaurant and use that name and further up on the list on getting a table. Best table in the house until he shows up.
That's so interesting that you bring that up. Yeah. Imagine how, before the fact, before they even see them, seeing that his name really is Mark Zuckerberg, he's not using false identity. He could say he orders something online. Mark Zuckerberg, maybe they'll think it's his highness. You know what I mean? And they'll rush the shipment to his house or something like that because of his name. You never know. I mean, he's got the same name as Mark Zuckerberg. They're not going to see him person to person. They could assume. But then again, I think they know where the Facebook CEO where he hangs out. But yeah, trying to erode the reputation of other names if you share the same name as a celebrity or somebody with a lot of standing in the news or in the media or so forth. Sure has its upsides. I wouldn't doubt it.
Well, I think Zuckerberg should have hired him as his attorney.
Zuckerberg hiring Zuckerberg as his attorney. Why would he need an attorney, though? I'm sure he has plenty of them.
When he was going through the troubles with people suing him over the foundation of Facebook and how much money they should be getting.
What I'd meant to say was he probably has plenty of attorneys already.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see what we have here. Zuckerberg, the attorney, after he had lost his profile, well, not lost, but he had 350 friends. People had thought that he defriended all of them after his profile was disabled. He had to continuously, he messaged Facebook trying to get a hold of them. Apparently he couldn't. He didn't have much luck until he sent a threatening email. And this was when he started, because he had to send his birth certificate, his driver's license, and his Indianapolis Bar Association license to Facebook. Imagine having to send all of this material just to get on Facebook, whereas anybody else, all they have to do is click sign up, and they're on. That's it.
Yeah,
so it's like this guy
there's
has
something
to go
wrong with that. I mean, I can understand them but they should have known, first of all, that this wasn't, if they're working for the company.
Right.
That when he signed up, this is what he had to do. Why should he have to go further and over versus what everybody else has done?
Yeah,
because of his name?
But that's unfortunately one of the downsides with sharing a celebrity name, is you do have to go the extra mile, because what if you are trying to impersonate another name? Like I brought up, some of the upsides, using somebody else's star power to your benefit. So if somebody is trying to do that, that's false identity, that's a crime. So they need to make sure, for their sake too, and his, and the person that has the same name, or apparently, quote-unquote, has the same name. For their sake, they need to make sure that it is actually their name, rather than the opposite. How many fake profiles Mark Zuckerberg, the actual founder on Facebook, are made every day? A lot. So they're taking precautions, I understand. But it just seems that this guy had to go through hell and back just to get on Facebook, and then to lose his account temporarily. Feel sorry for the guy. He's just on there to connect with his family and friends, and he literally said, "I just want them to leave me alone." You know what I mean? But he one time had the Mark Zuckerberg name before Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook CEO, was a celebrity. This guy had the name, say you go back before Facebook started, everything was basic, then you see, or it was his life, of course. Then you hear Facebook coming into the picture, and he's like, oh gosh, he has the same name as me now. Now how is that going to affect my life? And clearly this is one of, if not maybe many situations that have occurred in his life that has affected him because of Facebook CEO.
Yeah, his life definitely got interesting.
Yeah, it did. What else do we have here? Now, there were, I believe, because 24-Hour News 8 was behind this, along with this attorney. They were helping him out, actually. And an anchor for 24-Hour News 8, his name is David Barris. He tried to contact the media relations line. He tried to call them, and he received no return call. The company actually, I believe, suggests email contact. I know that they have an email contact, and they'll get back to you whenever. That was no help to this individual until the email contact was of help, I believe, because he did eventually receive a response from Facebook stating that they were going to restore Mark, the attorney's profile. They told Dave, the anchor. So they eventually reactivated it, and now he has his account back, and good for him. But you wonder how it's going to affect his life later on, because Mark Zuckerberg, the Facebook CEO's, in the news all the time. So is he going to gain exposure from this story? Obviously. Did he want to? Do you think? Why is and people wonder, why is this news? Why is this story? What story? How many other people are named Mark Zuckerberg out there, do you think? Or anybody else? Would this story have been added if anybody else shared the same profile that was deactivated? Why this guy? So people are wondering that. But in other words, the guy had his profile deactivated. It is now reactivated, and he can obviously talk to his friends again. But just remember that the Mark Zuckerberg, the attorney, has 350 friends. The CEO has over 4 million friends. And, millions and cajillions of dollars. So, yeah, you have to tell them both apart there.
He'll have to stay off of Twitter then, because could you imagine the Twitter that goes through that feed?
I can imagine. All right, we got to go to your associations, folks, on this 262nd episode of Take Two right here on the Voices on the Net Network. Ron, you want to start us off with one?
Sure. In 2006, the average CEO in the United States earned 262 times the pay average that a worker would do. So basically, they earned more pay in one workday versus what an average worker would make in 52 weeks.
262 times the average pay a worker makes. Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty amazing.
That's lots. Too much, I think. A lot of these CEOs make millions and millions of dollars.
Of course they do.
And nothing.
They run the company.
Well, you have those that are on the board. Look what we had to put up with when we had the car industry going under, and so much we learned that the CEOs were actually being paid versus the work that they did.
Well, there are a lot of people that feel CEOs are overpaid. Absolutely. They do. They feel they're overpaid. They feel they make too much money. And now hearing this 262 times the average worker's pay, that goes to show, the average worker's pay. What is the average worker's pay? It has to be around... What is this? The average worker's pay per year, or is this per hour or per year? What is this?
This is how much they make per day versus what the average worker makes per year. The average worker makes anywhere between $25,000 to $26,000 a year.
Right. So it goes to show you that these CEOs are raking in the dollars. So people complain that these CEOs do make more money, overpaid, but you can't say they don't do work either. They are the CEOs of a major company. Like, for instance, I watched that Undercover Boss show, and I see exactly what these CEOs have to go through. Some of them have it a bit easier than others, but some of them actually do work. They're not doing manual labor. They're not lifting heavy machine, or they're not using heavy machinery. They're not lifting heavy heavy items or anything, but they do have to make decisions that are going to lead the company in a prominent direction. Clearly, and believe me, you would think that even millions and millions is too much, but for baseball players or basketball players or hockey players or just professional athletes, people complain that they make too much money. Is A-Rod worth hundreds of millions of dollars? I mean, come on now. Is any human worth that much? So it just goes, just a point.
Still, lots of money compared to somebody else. I think the teeter-totter is a little higher on one end there.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that one. I've got one for you over here. Amazon, which we all know is very popular, a very popular company online, Amazon.com. Seeing that this is so popular, and I'm going to tell you that if you're not on the cloud, well, you're not safe, you're not secure. No, this is not an ad or anything, but if you don't store your material on the cloud, now people complain about privacy issues, but if you were to, say, lose your backup hard drive in a fire or a flood, or somebody were to steal it, you lose all your precious files. That's it. But if you back up online or the cloud, well, there you have it. If you lose your backup hard drive physically, you still have all of the files that were on that backup hard drive. Well, Amazon has a great backup service called S3. It's called S3. Their simple storage service, and it allows you to store all of your files on the internet. Now, yeah, there are a lot of other great services. Carbonite's another great one, but Amazon also does a great job too. Their S3 service has grown so much over the last year. Actually, it's quite amazing how much it's grown over a year period. From 2009 to 2010. From 2009 to 2010. In 2009, there were 102 billion objects uploaded to Amazon's S3 service. In 2010, by the end of quarter 4, 262 billion objects were uploaded to Amazon's service center, S3. That's pretty amazing, their storage center. 262 million files. Yeah, I'd say that's a lot of files. And that's the end of 2010. It's probably well over 300 billion by now. So 260 by the end of 2010, quarter 4, 2010, 262 billion objects by year end 2010.
Ooh.
Yep. Pretty crazy, huh?
That's some serious stuff right there.
Yeah.
Gee.
Do you back up to the cloud, Ronnie, or no?
No, because I really didn't understand what the cloud was.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Don't you have an association for us?
Okay, let me see here. Let's go to the funny law. Unfortunately, JJ, these are running very, very low on the list because some of these are being just taken off. So the next few are going to be gone. But anyway, this one is going to be in Mesa, Arizona. Ordinance 23262-4. It is illegal for men and women over the age of 18 to have less than one missing tooth when smiling.
It's illegal for somebody to have one missing tooth when smiling.
When smiling.
And this is in Mesa,
If it's visible that you have more than one missing tooth, that is a fine. Doesn't tell you how much the fine is yet, though. That was done in 1930.
Is Mesa going to pay for their dental bills if they're missing a tooth?
No, probably now they will. I doubt it, though. You've seen how they have not just the dentures, but the fake teeth that was put in there. When I was looking at the law, that was one of the alternatives that they could wear the fake teeth, or they could also take tape and put it across their teeth and go out in public.
Ah.
Just as long as the exposed area was not visible. So I guess if you lost 2 teeth, you're in trouble. Just don't smile in a picture.
Yeah.
It's evidence.
Wow. Well, I've got another... what's up? Go ahead.
I just want to know, why would you make a law like that up? They don't have any explanation.
All right. Yeah. Then again, why are any of the funny laws in law? We've come across you've come across as the one that delivers the funny laws to us. We could always look forward to what you have Well, we all look forward to what you have to say in terms of funny laws when you bring them up each episode. Why are any of them in law? That's in question. But this one's definitely a pretty crazy one. All right. Well, I've got an association for all of you. Before moving into Ronnie's stamp of reparation, we all know what happened to Japan, clearly. A devastating magnitude 9.0 earthquake that just shook northeastern Japan back on March 11th. Horrible earthquake. A record 262. Yeah, I repeat, a record 262 aftershocks of magnitude 5 or better or greater were registered in the 7 days following the earthquake of Japan.
7 days.
262 aftershocks of magnitude 5 or greater followed that massive earthquake. 7 days. It's pretty amazing.
That's just reliving the massive earthquake over and over again. And you couldn't get anything done.
And there were 6 and 7 magnitude aftershocks. So it's basically what California may experience as an earthquake. They're aftershocks. So it was just devastating for Japan. We know how harsh it was. It still is for Japan over there. How they're dealing with it. People without power still. People without homes, people that are still looking for loved ones, those that are helping, donating over there. It's horrible to hear that something like that had to happen, that you wouldn't wish that on any place, really. It's horrifying news. But
no wonder they're having problems with their nuclear plant out there.
Oh, yeah.
Well, by the time they get a hole fixed, another one occurs because of an aftershock.
Yeah. Virtually, it makes it very difficult to prepare to at least maybe move in a positive direction when all of these decent-sized aftershocks are occurring. All right, we have to move into Ronnie's stamp of reparation, but before we do so, it is time to thank our sponsor. This portion of the 262nd episode of Take Two is brought to you by Audible.com, and we thank Audible for their generous support of the Take Two program, as well as the Voices on the Net network, with over 85,000 audiobooks to choose from. Ronnie and I have one heck of a deal for all of you. You're going to want to stay tuned to what I'm going to be telling you here. You'll receive one free audiobook as well as a 14-day free trial to browse the nice selection of audiobooks at Audible. The thing is, even if you're not an avid reader, I'm sure many of you are readers. You enjoy reading. You enjoy picking up a book, reading traditionally. But even if you're not the avid reader, say you enjoy watching your favorite television shows, or say you enjoy listening to media on your computer or via your MP3 player. Well, Audible.com provides you with a great collection, a great selection of audiobooks that if you experience, and the good thing about Audible is you can experience it before even buying. And this is, of course, one way by taking advantage of the offer Ronnie and I are about to offer to you. But you could also listen to a preview of the audiobooks, which is another benefit of Audible. But the voiceover artists that are behind the audiobooks, the auditory experience, so much more than just a monotonous experience. They add so much to each audiobook: drama, engagement, the comedic action if it's a comedic story. It's fun. It's similar to literally watching a movie. Just close your eyes. You're basically witnessing a movie. Try it out for yourself. What do you have to lose? You don't have to spend a dime. Go to audibletrial.com/take2. Go to audibletrial.com/take2 to take advantage of this great offer. One free audiobook, 14-day free trial to browse the selection of audiobooks. Hey, you should try it out. audibletrial.com/take2. As always, we thank Audible for their generous support of the Take Two program as well as the Voices on the Net network. That is audibletrial.com/take2. All right, Ronnie, what do you say? You got a stamp of reparation for us for this 262nd episode of Take Two?
I sure do. This is an urgent one. We are just taking a slippery slope when we're trying to make these when judges decide to judge on other features rather than the law. We have a case in North Carolina. A mother of 2 was diagnosed when she was 9 months pregnant with breast cancer, stage 4. Which is non-treatable. There's not going to be any cure for this cancer, so she could live 5 years, 10 years. Anybody does not actually have a set time frame. Hers they really don't know how long she has. So it's not something that they can actually determine how, with her health, how long she has with this on Earth. However, her husband couldn't handle the stress of the cancer, and their marriage broke up, and he left due to unemployment in the Carolina and went to Chicago. But he wanted full custody of their 2 children instead. The judge ruled that the mother, although she is not unfit by abusing the children or neglecting the children in any way, she was unfit because she was diagnosed with cancer.
Because of the prognosis, right?
That's right. She is still she's stabilized.
Right.
She goes through treatment once a month. She does everything that she did before, although she is unemployed. But she was not employed when she was also married. The husband had all of that. Her treatments are all done in Carolina.
Right.
She has the doctors all set up. This is her medical team. This is who she has. Unfortunately, the doctor tells the judge that there is no set time limit on how long she has. It's unpredictable, only because there is no actual time frame how long bone cancer can go on with a person. So she could live quite a long time.
Right.
But not according to the judge, that it was too unstable for the children to stay with her. So she is going to force her to send her children to Chicago. Unfortunately for her, though, all the media is picking up on this. I decided to pick up on this because this has opened up the door that has determined here that unfit has just become a whole new category. So if someone was disabled, does that mean that they can't take care of their children? There's people out there that are in wheelchairs that can take care of their children. But that's going to be used now against them with this type of judge in office to make these kinds of rulings that does not partake in the law itself.
You know, this is ridiculous. So, in other words, the well-being, I could see if the mother wasn't caring for her children.
That's right.
By being a poor mother in that case. She's not. She's caring for the kids. Wouldn't it be advisable that the kids spend the most time they can with the mother because of her prognosis? Clearly, stage 4 breast cancer, more than likely, she's going to be dead within 5 years. So spend the most time you can with this person, the mother that took care of these. How many kids are there?
2.
2 kids. That spent what? One's 8 years old, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other one?
He's 4 right now.
All right, so these kids that spent their entire lives with their mother, they should be able to spend the time, the rest of the time that their mother has with her. And I think it's wrong, a very shameful decision to take them away from the mother here because of the prognosis. You're trying to think of the safety of the kids. Safety of the kids? The mother didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. That's the totality of being unfit.
Right.
Unfit means that you're mentally abusing them, physically abusing them.
Right.
She hasn't done any of these things. Her children want to be with her. They don't want to go to Chicago to be with her father, not because he's a bad father, but they were born and raised they understand their mom's prognosis. They understand their mom's condition. They've accepted it. They're living and spending the time of their life with their mother. Nothing has actually changed. But the judge wants the mother, because she is not tied down, listen to this, a job. I think being a parenting is a job, but she's not tied down to a job. So therefore, she should just pack up and leave, take her kids, and move to Chicago so she can spend time with her children versus the medical care that she's actually getting in Carolina.
It's very hard. Now, I'm not a cancer patient. I wouldn't know. But I've talked, my grandmother beat cancer, breast cancer. I've known people that have cancer. It's a very difficult task for cancer patients to deal with life. Although they're very strong. They're strong people. They're strong-willed. But it's thanks to the people around them too, including the doctors and so forth. They develop bonds with different people, and imagine how hard it is for this mother. She's not losing doctors. She's not losing friends. She's losing her kids. She's losing her kids. Imagine the bond you imagine a bond a cancer patient has with their doctors. Imagine what a cancer patient that happens to be a mother has with their kids. And you're taking them away. You're taking them away from her. It's a wrong decision. Should not be this way. Shouldn't.
Right.
I really
she has
hope
30 days to appeal.
Well, I hope it does go in her. I hope it does go in her way. The only reason the judge said she ruled in the guy's favor, the father's favor, because he had a job, right? Because he had a stable income. Well, this mother doesn't have as much time on earth. God willing for the father that he doesn't get in a car accident or something. I'm not trying to wish that. I'm just stating a fact that she doesn't have as much time as he will on this earth. So I hope something works out where the kids will be able to be with their mother for a lot more than they would be in this case. All right. Thank you for your stamp of reparation, Ronnie. Great one. Really great one. Thank you for that. All right. We're going to go to the break, but Ronnie and I will return after the break on this 262nd episode of Take Two right here on the Voices on the Net Network. What we're going to be going into, a miraculous story where a motorist is most certainly lucky to be alive. Well, he fell asleep while he was driving, and a 2-inch thick pole went right through his mouth, through the back of his neck. Yeah. And doctors say that if the pole was anywhere else, he'd be dead at this very moment. But it was exactly how it went through his head, through his mouth, through the back of his neck. And, of course, the help of the doctors, why he's alive. We're going to talk about the miraculous story about this guy that had to go through this. Really, he doesn't remember anything. He remembers going to sleep the night before, waking up, and then the next thing he knows, he's in the hospital. And, well, yeah. We'll talk about that as well as how do you deal with difficult people? Yeah. How do you deal with frustration? One psychiatrist feels, well, patience. We should turn our frustrations into patience. How? We're going to talk about that as well as the movie report. That is right, Ronnie's movie report coming up. Also the blast from the past. So much coming up during the second segment of this 262nd episode of Take Two. You're not going to want to go anywhere. Ronnie and I return right after the break. Hey, guess what, ladies and gents? Ronnie and I are back. That is right, we're back for this 262nd episode of Take Two right here on the Voices on the Net Network, and it is great to be back. As always, we really do have a lot for the second segment. How we're going to fit it all in a 35 to 40-minute segment is pretty difficult, but we'll find a way. But before we get into all of... we're up for the challenge, as Ronnie states. Yep. The optimist that she is over there. Let's be optimistic. It's important to be. But before we move into all of the good stuff, if all of you tuned in right now would be so kind, tell your friends too, tell your family to visit www.vonthenet.com, www.vonthenet.com, the Voices on the Net Network's website, where you, the great listeners, will be able to find more information pertaining to the Voices on the Net Network. Yeah. All you need to do is go up to the About link. You click it, where you will arrive at a web page providing you everything you need to know pertaining to the network in thorough detail. Now, you can also check out, and probably the greatest features on the website, if I say so myself, the podcasts of any of the episodes from any of the shows available on demand for and at your very own convenience. And you can check all of these brilliant features out by going to www.vonthenet.com. So, welcome back, Ronnie.
Thank you, JJ. Same to you.
Oh,
I'm ready for this next topic because it's going to give you a headache.
Yeah. And actually, it's great that we can talk about this because he's alive.
I know.
More probably 99 times out of 100, anybody would be dead in this situation. Really. This guy, no. This guy lives to tell the tale. Now he has a really great story to tell to anybody. Scary story, but great nonetheless because he lived through it. miraculous, really. Thanking the doctors. Imagine the doctors that worked on him. You bet all of you listening are probably wondering, well, what are you talking about? Yeah, a motorist was impaled by a pole. Yeah, as he was driving. He fell asleep at the wheel. It was late at night. And, he literally was impaled by a pole 2 inches thick. Went right through his mouth, through the back of his head. And doctors say that if it were any other way, if this pole went in any other way, he'd be dead. It could have hit the carotid artery. It could have went right through his brain. But no, it missed all of that. All of the critical arteries, all of the anything critical, it missed. Yep. Pretty amazing.
Yeah. If it was 2 centimeters one way or the other, that would have been, even the position of how it went into him was different. Because he had hit that chain link fence, and that's the type of pole that went through him. Can you imagine you're asleep, and of course you don't remember any of this, and wake up and find, of course you've got missing your teeth, your throat's all messed up, the scarring is all this, and all of that was from this pole. I could not imagine being impaled or even witnessing someone that was impaled going to the scene of the accident and seeing that, because you would think they would assume automatically that they're dead just to see that. But this guy was trying to use his cell phone to make a call for help.
That's the other thing that medics on scene, police on scene were looking at. How is this guy with a pole through his head trying to make phone calls? How is he even moving? You know, I'm thinking to myself, as if surviving roadside bombs isn't enough over in Iraq. This guy's a war veteran. This guy has to go through this. And this is not the only accident he has had. I'm talking about bad accident that he's had that has actually hurt his neck and so forth. Clearly, that's nothing compared to this. But, yeah, he's survived quite a bit. So clearly luck must be on his side. He has a guardian angel. If he could survive, and you would know all about this, survive over in Iraq, survive this, and any other accidents, clearly he could survive anything, pretty much.
Yeah, he's like a cat with 9 lives, but he better watch it because he's kind of using them all up, because
really
eventually this isn't going to happen for him.
Right. His name's Andrew Lynn, and he really did cheat death this time. He did. He's lucky to be alive. His doctor, Jay Coates, told the Today Show that Lynn's survival was, well, clearly a miracle. He's 28 years old. Veered off the road, crashed into a chain-link fence, and this was right around Thanksgiving, so clearly the tryptophan had somewhat of an effect on this guy as he was driving home, trying to get home.
That's horrible. I want to know what was going through his mind. We know that he doesn't remember anything, but this could be because of the medication he was given and stuff, but when he's trying to make a call, so he has to be some form of consciousness. Because he doesn't remember feeling the pain. I wonder what was going through his mind at that time, even though he doesn't recall. I know what would be going through mine. I don't think I'd be reaching for a cell phone, though. I don't know if I would be able to pull something like that. You wouldn't know what to do. You got this thing in your mouth. You can't swallow. Mm-hmm. You can't how do you breathe with this in your mouth, all the way to the back of your neck, out the other side, and actually go to the hospital? They actually made him sit up to go to the hospital because they left, 6 inches on both sides? Yeah. Still attached. So he had to sit up for part of the surgery and, of course, his transportation to the hospital.
It's really the revelation of life, how things happen. That you would notice if this wouldn't have ever happened, that if they were to put this, a test dummy or just they were to analyze the situation, this exact thing that happened, that they would have thought, there's no way a human could move, could even make a phone call, could do anything with this happening, with this 2-inch thick metal pole through this guy's, through the, of course, individual's head. So it just goes to show you, on an individual basis, this was a worst case scenario, yet he still was moving around.
Yeah, that just ugh. Right. It gave me a sore throat when I was reading that. The pain. I was experiencing the pain, although I wasn't there. Yeah. Only because you could just imagine how that would. You're trying to gasp for air. This pull is actually obstructing your windpipe.
It is, yeah. It really is. And I've been reading quite a bit. There's the X-ray that was posted online. It literally shows the pipe right through his mouth into the back of his neck, literally less than an inch away from his brain. You see the pipe on the X-ray. And he lives to tell the tale. Now, clearly, he's lost a lot of his teeth, and his face is a little discombobulated, but he's clearly happy to be alive, taking every day as a gift. And you know what? He should be. He should feel that way because of what he's went through in his life. 20 years old, too. Wow. He's young, and he's went through all of this in his life. So yeah, he is from Nevada, and he states that, quote, the hardest thing has been opening the mouth and learning how to eat and swallow. And drinking is really difficult. He's a business student who admits he probably fell asleep when he crashed his car after getting a late-night snack. And we, of course, find out that the doctors did a great job, clearly keeping this guy stable and allowing him to live his life, continue to live his life. And you know what? I'm glad to hear that. I really am.
Absolutely. That had to be the scare of the life of the family to know that how this was to go to the hospital and see him before he goes into surgery. Just had to be just scared to death. The video that they also just put on there, you had a little girl that also escaped death to where when she fell on a screwdriver and went through her eye. All by rights, that should have killed her. And blind, no less. But they were able to pull that out of her eye. And she has no problems. Right.
There was a little boy, too. There was a little boy that also escaped. That also escaped death, too. That I was watching a video. A little black boy. I believe there was a metal rod that went through the kid's back, through his chest.
Yeah.
So, pretty scary. The escapees, those that escaped death. Yeah. All right, we do have to move on. Great story, though. Wanted to get that I wanted to add that to the itinerary. Really did, because that is a story that you're obviously in the future going to hear that one of the blast from the pasts again. You will come across that story again, folks. Believe us. All right, we're going to get into the next item on the itinerary here: how to deal with difficult people, how to deal with frustration. How do you deal with difficult people? One psychiatrist feels we should turn our frustrations into patience. Yeah, we've all, of course, dealt with difficulty in life, dealt with frustration. Everybody has their own ways of coping. We're going to talk about this. Also, Ronnie's movie report coming up, as well as the blast from the past. So still a lot to go through on this 262nd episode of Take Two. But before we get to the next item on the itinerary, it is time to thank our sponsor. That is right. This portion of the 262nd episode of Take Two is brought to you by Audible.com. And we thank Audible for the support of the Take Two program, as well as the Voices on the Net network, with over 85,000 audiobooks to choose from. 85,000 and counting. Audible's always adding new titles to the mix. You'll receive one free audiobook and a 14-day free trial to browse the 85,000 audiobooks and counting with this great offer that Ronnie and I have for you, where you don't even have to spend a single dime. Seriously, what do you have to lose? We recommend it, Ronnie and I. Even if you're not an avid reader, more than likely you enjoy watching media, whether it's television, whether it's a movie, whether it's listening to media on your computer or your MP3 player. It's an experience really all in itself. The auditory experience, I call it. And if you're like me, I tend to retain information, well, if not better, when somebody's reading to me, or if I'm reading something traditionally, I'll read aloud so I could hear myself speak. I enjoy listening to people talk. For instance, you listen to Ronnie and I speak. We chat on the show. Do you tend to retain the information that Ronnie and I are talking about when we conduct our discussions and so forth? We talk about a study that may be difficult to understand if you were to traditionally read it. Well, we kind of break it down for you, and of course give you our points. similar to that, really is. It's not monotonous. The voiceover artists, they add drama, they add engagement. They do a lot. They do a great job voicing these projects, these audiobooks. So try it out. audibletrial.com/take2, all right? audibletrial.com/take2 to receive your free audiobook and your free trial. You don't have to spend a dime. You'll be glad you did. As always, we thank Audible for their support of Take Two as well as the Voices on the Net network. Once again, the link is audibletrial.com/take2. All right, Ronnie, how to deal with difficult people. Just don't say JJ, please.
Okay, I will try not to say JJ.
You try not to say JJ. See how mean she is? I'm just kidding. But how to deal with frustration. How to deal with the difficult parts of life. We all cope in our own ways. That's obvious. We really do. Dealing with difficult people. The negativity of life. Whether it's a fight verbally or physically. Whether you're waiting in line at the supermarket and somebody is sifting through their wallet to try to find their credit or debit card. Whether somebody's speaking in a public place loud and it's bothering you. How do you deal with these frustrations without lashing out at the person or becoming so stressed out that your stomach becomes tight? You get angry. You become anxious, stressed out. Well, one psychiatrist feels we should turn our frustrations into patience. Well, how? Her name is Judith Orloff, and we're going to talk more about this here. How to turn frustration into patience. I want to hear what you have to say opening this, though. What do you do when you're going through a difficult time, when somebody's getting on your last nerve? What do you do to resolve? Well, what do you do, in other words, just to make it easier for you? In other words,
I end up usually having to walk away, because if I don't, and I keep hoarding in all that emotion, that I'm getting more angrier and angrier, so the smaller things are going to start to tick me off, and then it's going to cause a really big problem, because I'm going to start yelling, screaming. I'm going to be accusatory, in a defensive mode, and attack. So usually I have to walk away.
Right.
Because if I don't, the trouble is going to get even worse.
Yeah. I don't know, how did battle animosity in life? We try to find our own ways to cope. Deep breath, meditation when you're alone. But what about at the scene of what's going on? It's literally real time. You're literally trying to deal with somebody that's bugging the heck out of you, but you don't want to cause more commotion. You don't want to escalate the problem. You wonder, some people that just never get mad, no matter what you do to try and tick them off or get under their skin, right? They just, it doesn't affect them. You wonder how they just stay so calm. And it's how to cope, coping mechanisms. Now, whether people feel that lashing out, in other words, will hurt themselves, becoming stressed out or anxious is not good for our bodies. So, while somebody's bugging you or bothering you, if you lash out, that's only going to make you more anxious, more stressed out. Somebody's bugging you, somebody's getting under your skin. If you remain calm, the person bugging you may be getting under your skin a little bit. You don't want to show it, but it's going to help your well-being, clearly, right?
True, because you're releasing that energy.
Yeah.
It depends. I think it depends on the personality that you are. Look at the people that are road ragers. You're driving down there. They just, one thing ticks them off because they hoard in all that emotion along during the day, and then when it comes time to get on the freeway, the interstate, wherever they're at, one thing is going to tick them off, and they start just going right after you, right out, right. No matter what it is that you've done or did not do, they start taking the anger out on you. And a lot of that's, led to murder along the way because of that anger.
Yeah. Well, this psychiatrist by the name of Judith Orloff, she talks about how frustration can turn into patience. And if it is turned into patience, we could live much more healthier lives. There's a great frustration quiz that I'm going to bring up, and we're going to have some fun with this here, see where we lie here. But what Orloff states, she brings up how to tame frustration, of course, how to turn it into patience, but she also feels that patience doesn't necessarily mean passivity or resignation, but power. Power. She feels that the empowerment from turning frustrations into patience will power us, will help us throughout our lives. Obviously, I agree with her in this sense, because if you could turn any degree of difficulty or frustration into patience is a virtue, they state. Having patience would allow you to take a deep breath. That any situation that occurs, you don't have to become anxious over it. Whether you're waiting for a box to receive, package in the mail, you're impatient. Whether you're waiting for dinner to be done, how to overcome adversity from people that are starting with you or getting under your skin, or your boss that's irritating, and so forth. So so many different things in life bother us, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, whether it's with your friends. All of this piles on. Now, somebody that may have to deal with their boss at work, their boss is getting under their skin, they take a deep breath, they cope the way they do. They leave for work, traffic is now on the schedule. Now that's going to obviously get under many people's skins. They fortunately breathe, take a deep breath, they overcome those frustrations. They finally get home, their wife is nagging. The wife is nagging the guy. The kids won't stop yelling. All of these pile up. And even after overcoming the past two situations, the boss getting under your skin, the traffic, that third one was just too much. It put you over the edge, your tipping point, your boiling point. And I think we all have a boiling point. It's how we really cope with the frustrations. It's how we deal with our boiling points.
I think it has to depend also how, you ever heard the opposite? When you want to make a point, you do the opposite of what someone expects you to do. Mm-hmm. That also diffuses, because some people just like to be that irritant. They know what irritates you, and so their issue, if they have something going on in their life that they're not wanting to deal with, they know what it is that's going to tick somebody else's off. They like to ride that line.
Right.
And if you oppose a different reaction, opposing to what they think, which is the opposite, but you're going to be nice and polite and so forth and so forth, that is not a reaction that they are expecting. So that, granted, that's going to diffuse or confuse the situation.
Right. They're looking for the attention. You notice that people that are they're regularly they're just an irritating person. You notice when you are online, and people on YouTube will post negative comment after negative comment on so many different videos. They're trying to receive attention. If you respond to those comments, they are getting what they want. If you don't respond to those comments, that bothers them. That's what makes it difficult, because there are a lot of people that cannot withdraw that the temptation to respond to those irritable people or those irritating people, and you're just feeding into it. Of course, the popular term that is coined on the internet, feeding the trolls, they want that from you. And also that, even though somebody may be annoying even online, you don't even see them face to face, what they post is bothering you. You respond back, it's going to escalate the problem in your sense. I'm talking about for your well-being, and it's going to make things worse off for you. So maybe taking a deep breath and restricting yourself from making that comment, well, patience has a lot to do with it too. You have to have patience with people that may just want attention. And that's what this psychiatrist goes into. We're going to talk about this frustration quiz. How frustrated are you? How frustrated am I? We're going to talk about this. We're going to go over some of these. Well, we'll go over all of the questions here. And if you answer, Ronnie, if you answer yes to 5 to 7 questions, it indicates an extremely high level of frustration. If you answer 3 to 5 yeses, it indicates a high level. If you answer 2 yeses, it indicates a moderate level. 1 yes indicates a low level, and 0 yeses suggests that you're dealing with your emotions successfully. So we'll start off with this one. Am I often frustrated and irritable, Ronnie? Number one, am I often frustrated and irritable? This is you, Ronnie.
Yes.
All right, so that's one yes right there. You're often frustrated and irritable. Number two, do I typically respond to frustration by snapping or blaming others?
I don't blame others, but I do snap.
Yes, so yes or no in this sense?
I'll probably have to go with yes.
Okay. So 2 yeses so forth. So Ronnie's often frustrated and irritable, which is something that I don't know if well, obviously you would know yourself. You don't seem like the type that would be frustrated all of the time. So that's why I'm surprised that you said yes, that you are often frustrated and irritable. Then again, I don't know what you do at your house. I don't know what you do in your life, whether people get under your skin at your home, whether I get under your skin and then you take your frustrations out when I'm not noticed and when I don't, see you or talk to you. So, yeah. All right, number 3. Do you self-medicate letdowns with, say, junk food, drugs, or alcohol?
No.
So you don't self-medicate when you're, say, frustrated? You don't eat a lot more than if you weren't?
No.
All right, so that's a no. So 2 yeses, 1 no. Number 4, do your reactions hurt other people's feelings?
I don't think so. No.
Oh, I'll tell you right now, no. Because you don't hurt my feelings. And I think the listeners would agree that you don't hurt their feelings either. We think you're a sweetheart, Ronnie. So we agree with that one. I'll agree with you there. All right, 2 yeses, 2 nos. The next one. When the frustration has passed, do you usually feel misunderstood? When the frustration passes, do you usually feel misunderstood?
No.
Good. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. During a hard day at work, do you tend to lose your cool? During a hard day at work, do you tend to lose your cool? I guess I could probably answer this for you because I would notice seeing that, every day after the shows, after you do work, I could tell whether or not the shows affect you in any way.
Oh, you can. That's true.
Well, I'm the one that co-hosts
You're on the other
the
end.
show with you, so I would be able to notice, as will the listeners. But then again, the listeners don't chat with you personally either, so I would know whether or not I feel or perceive that there are shows that do affect you in a way, and they shouldn't, because the show is the show. The show, what happens on the show is on the show. I'll tell you, there are certain shows, or after the fact, I could tell. Now you won't admit to it, but I could tell that I perceive you to lose your cool, where you'll either be distant or you could tell you won't be as peppy as you usually are. You won't use many emoticons like you usually do. Your responses would be one-word answers. You could tell that it's not necessarily losing your cool, but you're affected by some of the shows, depending on what we talk about. A major debate where I own you, and then you get upset.
You own me?
Yeah, I own you. I taught I literally take you to school. And then you lose kind of the emotions, the sense of emotion. So maybe, I don't know, maybe you're jealous that I'm such a great debater, I'm a great talker, and you wish you could be a lot like me. I don't know, Ronnie, but I'd have to say there are certain shows where it does affect you. So what would you say, though? My perceptions versus you. During a hard day at work, do you tend to lose your cool?
Yes, I do.
Okay. There you go. There you go. Ronnie,
Wait, through all that
answer
still,
that.
yes.
And by the way, I hope all of you know that I'm just messing around with Ronnie here, right? Finally, when I'm disappointed, or you in this case, do you often feel unworthy or like giving up?
No, go the other way around.
Well, I know you don't give up because you're a very strong-willed person. You're one of the hardest workers I've ever had the pleasure of knowing, and you definitely true to say no there. So, you're often frustrated and irritable, yes. Do you typically respond to frustration by snapping at or blaming others? Yes. Do I self-medicate letdowns? No. Do your reactions hurt other people's feelings? No. So that's 2 yeses, 2 nos right there. When the frustration has passed, do you usually feel misunderstood? No. So that's 3 no's, 2 yeses. During a hard day at work, do you tend to lose your cool? Yes. So that's 3 and 3. And when I'm disappointed, do you often feel unworthy or like giving up? No. So 4 no's, 3 yeses. So 3 to 5 yeses indicates a high level. So yeah, you have a high level of frustration here, Ronnie, according to the psychiatrist, according to Orloff. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you are poor at coping with your frustration. It's just maybe you need to, take a step back, take a deep breath, and cope with those frustrations, what you said yes to, in a different way. Clearly, the way you're doing it isn't working for you because you answered yes to the questions you answered yes to. So if you try and focus on another way, could you, according to Orloff, turn your frustrations into patience? Even after listening to, say, Orloff speak to you, would you be able to test yourself? Go to a supermarket yourself, as she states, and find the longest line you can find. Find the longest line you can find. Stand it. Test yourself. See if you could pass that test.
Oh, that would be a huge test for me because that's a frustration avenue right there. I would give it a try to see if it did. I don't know if I would let somebody go ahead of me. That'd be hard to do as well. But no, I would try.
Yeah. Well, what do you have to lose? I mean, you figure. Well, what do you have to lose? You may. If you get irate,
lines of Christmas time, when everyone's going on Black Friday, those things just the claws come out.
Go off the wall and you're standing in line just to test yourself, and you really go off the wall because somebody's getting under your skin. Then, yeah, I guess you do have something to lose there. But it's a test, and that's what Orloff brings up. She feels that test yourself, find ways to test yourself, to turn those frustrations into patience. We learn from our mistakes. I truly believe that. I'm a huge believer. I really am when it comes to learning from our own mistakes. That if we learn from our mistakes, if we if we do something and we make a mistake, you're not going to want to make that mistake again. You're not. You're going to try your hardest the next time not to make that mistake. So I'm absolutely agreeing with Orloff in this case. Orloff states here, even if your frustration is off the charts. Now, I wouldn't say Ronnie's is off the charts because she did mention 3 to 5 yeses, which does indicate a high level. But Orloff mentions that even if the frustration is off the charts, that patience is the cure. And in today's world, there are plenty of opportunities to cultivate this invaluable skill. Life teaches us patience if you let it. And that, of course, brings up the fact that we learn from our mistakes, too.
Well, true, because I've learned to pick and choose my own battles.
Right.
So what might have frustrated me before, I put on the back burner, but something would happen that really got me going. I'm probably going to drag all those other items that has been done back into the fold. But usually I just kind of pick and choose my own battles.
Yep, exactly. There really are some great points that Orloff brings up. And it's on the if you go to HuffingtonPost.com, you'll be able to check out the article. She goes over 4 tasks here that talk about when somebody frustrates you. You always take the deep breath first. But there are 4 tasks that you can use to help you to be more persuasive, less threatening, just a patient person, knowing how to cope with your frustrations, how to cope with difficult people, the difficulties of life. And that plays a major role. It goes a long way if you can do so. I could tell you. I've started meditating, Ronnie. I'm serious. I've started meditating, and it helps a lot. I can hold back a lot. And it's interesting when we debate on the show. It's kind of fun to look at you because you really get irate. Yeah, I could tell. I try and look at you when you're debating, and this is the challenge of any broadcaster here, is debating without losing your cool while still getting your point across. That's the challenge, because you want to get your points across so much when somebody's disagreeing with you that you become irate. But if you can debate without becoming irate while still getting your points across, while somebody's disagreeing with you, Ronnie, that's the challenge. That's the challenge right there. That's a challenge, a personal challenge for you. And yeah, it's difficult. But you answering 3 to 5 yeses indicates you have a high level of frustration. Clearly, that's part of the problem. And we just, answering those questions clearly allow us to unlock that part of it. All right. We do have to head into your movie report, Ronnie. You ready? Yeah, I know you.
I'm ready.
I don't even know what movie you went to go see. I don't.
You don't.
But we're gonna of course find out what Ronnie went to go see because, well, I'm looking forward to it. So here we go, folks. Ronnie's movie report.
Get your tickets and popcorn ready because it is time to take a break from the critic. It's Ronnie's movie report.
So, Ronnie, what did you go see? I don't even know. You didn't tell me. You wouldn't even spill the beans to me. Your own co-host.
I know. I had to keep it all to myself.
I know.
I went to see Thor.
Thor.
Yes.
Nice.
Now, there is a movie to go see. Remember on episode 261, we were talking about the characters that people play that actually make them look, the evil guys, they really look evil. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned Anthony Hopkins. Well, guess what? He's in this movie. Imagine that.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
And he does not play a bad guy. He actually plays a good guy in this one. However, we have Tom Hiddleston that also plays the bad guy. And let me tell you something. This guy he is a bad guy. But his looks, even just brings it all together. That was going through my mind when I first was introduced during the movie of these people. Mm-hmm. This movie, you have to watch it because it brings back, you have mythology and modernization. These two worlds come together, and you would not even imagine that these two worlds, you read about them when you were a kid, that actually come together in this movie. And they do it with such finesse. It's unreal because it brings you into it. I watched the 3D version, and I would suggest that. It brings you in the graphics that go on in this movie. If you watch Transformers, you watch Star Wars, just think of those types of things that are going on tenfold in this movie because it brings you right on into it. Natalie Portman, which, I wasn't too happy with her last performance.
Oof,
okay, she got thumbs up with this one.
So hot.
She got thumbs up. Thumbs up. She went all out. I'm going to give you a little secret about the movie. She did not want to do the movie in the beginning of this because she did not believe in mythology. And here she is. I expect her to get another award out of this. But she actually teamed up with Chris Hemsworth, who plays Thor, and the movie rests on his entire shoulders. He brings funny to the movie where you would not see that in the comic strip when it was the Thor, which is what it's based on. But he brings everything out that you would think that Chris could find. He does. The funnies, the laughs that he does, but he's also serious at the same time. And you yourself will go through these same emotions during it. But it has to do with a relationship between a father and his son and a would-be king and the enemy that lies within. Kind of like the enemy that lies within each one of us coming out at the wrong point in time. So I would suggest to go see Thor. I would give that about an 8 out of that. That was a pretty interesting movie.
Yeah. Are there a lot of efficacious battle scenes in this movie, Ronnie?
Yeah, there is. There is.
All
But
right.
it's between two worlds. So you're actually in modernization battling, and then you find yourself going back in time and battling.
Very cool. Thor.
Same time.
I've heard great reviews. I really have. I've heard
Excellent.
great
Excellent.
reviews on Thor.
Excellent.
So IMDb, as of right now, has it at a 7.5 out of 10. What do you give it, Ronnie?
I would give it an 8.
I give it an 8 out of 10, yeah. I've
Yeah.
heard good reviews about it. And, of course, Chris Hemsworth plays, I've heard, a great role. And Natalie Portman, she's just one of the greatest actresses in all of the history of movies right there. She's also beautiful. So definitely sounds like a great movie. Glad you had a great time.
It's a
Thank
winner.
you for your review. 8 out of 10, as Ronnie states. Of course, Ronnie's movie report. All right, let's go into your blast from the past. We delve into the past, a past discussion that Ronnie and I went into at one point or another. And this we're going back we're going back a ways, maybe not as far back, but going back far enough, of course, where maybe, you know what, I should shut my mouth and allow you to listen. What do you say we delve and get into the time machine, Ronnie? You ready?
I'm ready for this.
All right, folks. For episode number 262, Ronnie and I present to, of course, all of you, your blast from the past. Enjoy. Full bladder chatter. Full bladder chatter. Actually, a full bladder, according to a study, equals a clear mind. In other words, a full bladder equals better decision making. Controlling your bladder decreases impulsive choices. And you wonder why. Actually, if I think right off the bat, I don't wonder why. Because if I have a full bladder, I want to get to the point right away. So maybe I will make a better decision right off the bat. Or some people could argue the fact that if you have a full bladder, you're going to make irrational decisions because you just want to get it over with so you can pee, right? I want to hear your opening statement here.
That's the best time to ask for a raise, too.
Right, exactly.
Ask your boss as they got to go, and they're going to say yes to anything.
Right,
Whatever you want, go ahead, go get it. I think impulsive behavior. I'm not sure if you mean irrational behavior at the moment.
Yeah.
I think rational is, isn't that what they say? I'm going to go think.
Yeah.
And it's usually in the bathroom.
Well, I would think, and I want to play, I want to play both sides here, all right? Both sides of the spectrum. Because somebody could say that if somebody has a full bladder, if somebody really has to go to the bathroom, they're going to be making the quickest decision ever. What do you say about that? About those that have a full bladder and then have to make the quickest decision ever? For those that feel they're going to make more irrational decisions versus this study that states a full bladder would equal better decision making.
Sometimes on-spot decisions are your best choice, if you've noticed. That you don't think anything into it, you don't read anything into it. And so, I mean, would you actually say yes to someone, all the way to the bathroom? Probably not. But I think it could be on the end, so you might make a rational decision, but it's a fast, quick decision because you want to get from point A to point B and with little distraction as possible.
Right.
Because other than that, you sit there screaming in your chair and you're not really listening to what they're saying at that point anyway, because the number one on your mind is get into the other room.
Yeah.
Thinking.
The study that was conducted pertaining to this here was actually published in the journal Psychological Science, and it found that controlling your bladder, of course, makes you better at making decisions, exerting self-control when making your decisions, all right? The lead researcher's name, Mirjam Took, an assistant professor of consumer psychology at the University of Twente in the Netherlands, came up with the idea for the study when she found herself in a certain state of urgency. Now, Dr. Took had drank plenty of coffee and was in the midst of a long lecture. Now, she stated in this release, quote, "All the coffee had reached my bladder, and that raised the question, what happens when people experience higher levels of bladder control?" Now, she had study participants drink either 5 full cups of water or take sips from 5 separate cups, then waited 40 minutes for the fluid to reach their bladders. Now, Dr. Tuck then tested the participants' self-control by asking them to choose between immediate rewards, like receiving $15 the next day, or greater delayed rewards, like $30 in a month period. Those with full bladders were more likely to hold out for the bigger prize. And that's where this study began. Well, there you have it. Yeah, blast from the past time. There you have it, blast from the past from back on the 218th episode of the show, actually.
Full bladder and frustration.
Full bladder and frustration. See how we kind of went into the frustration chatter, and then, well, look what happens. Telling you, playing with our minds, the time machine here. It really is, but really feel like we're in the past. It sounds like a cosmic experience, but very cool. All right, folks. That concludes the show. That's all the time Ronnie and I have for this 262nd episode of the show. But guess what? Ronnie and I will return for the next one to do it all over again for all of you with a whole new itinerary. So you won't have to miss us for too long. And remember, the network's 24/7, so you could always check out the content as it airs. Go to vonthenet.com, and you'll be able to check out the stream and all of that good stuff. www.vonthenet.com is the website. We got to go, though, Ronnie. So, till next time, much love to you all. Bye-bye, folks.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.